Hello one for another build guide. So I know I've been doing build guides pretty recently. This one was sort of not the original plan for the next build, but due to what you saw in the last video, this was the cheapest option to go with after what happened. That I was able to actually afford under under 20x or so. So the build we're playing recently has been the cold spell slinger, I guess you would call it. The cold damage over time using dual spell slingers. So every time you cast your frenzy, you're triggering two other skills at the same time. So then when you move, you're triggering the other one. So it's a really lazy build. It's literally a one button build. Hold down left click to move, and then right click from here to there. Flame dash if you ever need to, and then you have your emergency button. That's all the buttons I use in this build. Super lazy, the best playstyle to play. And also this will be my league start next league, most likely, if this build does not get nerfed. If it gets nerfed, then I gotta figure out, but as of right now, this will be my league start next league. So the build in general, go this way first. Ascendancy, same as the Winter Orb. You're pretty much playing this just for like Malediction, for the additional curses. Profane Blue makes your clearing speed very nice. Void Beacon, pretty much nearby enemies, cold resistance. Cannot be frozen, chill, the usual cold damage build that everyone plays. Pretty much if you're doing this build, this is Lab 1, Lab 2, Lab 3, and Lab 4. That's pretty much the way you're going to go with labs, or you can reverse these two, it's really optional. It's just usually 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 is whatever you personally prefer. If you can do 2 curses, get this one first. If you don't have 2 curses, just go with this one first. It depends if you have the rings, do you have if you're new spells, the self-cast, depends which route you have at that point. So the skill tree's pretty, more levels you have, the better skill tree is. So pretty much, it's your normal tree going up this way, going over here just to get your Arcane Will for the mana. Going this way, we are low life, so you take your Pain to 2 when you can switch to low life. Until then, you just play a normal life build, and then when you get to the point where you have like the Shabs, the Chalulu, well the Presence actually, the Prism Guardian, start getting your like ES belts, boots, and gloves, then that's when you actually switch over to the ES version. But make sure you have these around 6-7k ES when you do, because without that you will die very quickly, and that's when you take Pain to 2. You can take Arcane Vision if you want to, but it's a waste of skill point. And pretty much you're doing the usual that every CI low life build does. Take these 4, convert them over to ES with the Energy from Within. Get 6% if you can. Shooting up this way. Up here, you have your ES cluster. Reduced mana reserve, you need these. Without this is really hard to sustain all your mana reserves. Over here, strength, because you are starved strength and dex with this build. Your block stuff, cold damage. This way. You have a choice also between the 2 clusters, which one you want to take. If you want to go mana or if you want to go damage, it's personally up to you. This one doesn't give you too much more mana though. So I went with damage to put out 12% more damage. Shoot up this way. You have your spell damage, your block, skip the point in the middle. Thread of Hope, make sure it's a large, because Thread of Hope gives you Arcane Focus, more ES. You don't need Snowforge, it's more just there to take it. But it's not bad at all though, because it helps you with resistance. Your crit chance is really low with this build anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You're only looking at least between 7 to 10% overall. Cold damage. Up with intelligence, more mana, more ES, very good overall. Your double cold damage over time, cold penetration combo. Your block nodes, you oh yeah, this one too. This is your leech and more damage while full ES. If you do need strength and dex, you do have this one down here if you need to take 25 extra. If you can't get it on your gear, this is the other option you would take. You know, your huge ES cluster. Elemental Overload, your more ES. Down here, your Frozen Trail. You could definitely just get this early on without Corrupted Blood from Act 5, I believe, from one of the quests. And then just go for Corrupted Blood when you can. They are going to be expensive, but get Corrupted Blood somewhere. If you can get it somewhere else, you don't have to get it here. It's just usually Corrupted Blood and Energy from Within is stupid expensive. Thread of Hope is stupid expensive. Clusters are expensive, so your only other option really is Corrupted Blood and Frozen Trail, or on your regular jewels. Those are the only two options you really have to go with. Talk about Cluster later. As usual, shooting over here. Take your Zealoth Oath once you go low life. Your reduced mana reserve. Shoot up this way. Jewel slot. Watcher's Eye here, or you put Watcher's Eye up here. It just depends. If you have the 2 jewels and Watcher's Eye, then I would probably take these 2 points if you don't need the strength. If you need the strength, then just go this way and skip the one up there on top. And your huge block cluster. Your Glancing Blow for double block, chance to block, and more resistance, and then more block. It's pretty much because you're playing max block with this build, which is really nice. We'll go over little stuff now. So Watcher's Eye. The main stat that does help a lot is maximum mana as ES. It's about not that much ES actually. Is Clarity even on actually? It is. So it doesn't give you too much, to be honest. It's like an extra 600. It's just a quality of life. But like Fizz damage converted to cold damage is really good. Increased damage over time affected by Malevolence is good. It's just stupid expensive. Looking at least 30 to 40x. This is just a cheaper route for 2x or so for these two. Cluster Jewel. You ideally want to get Blast Freeze, Deep Chill, and Disorienting Display together. They are not the easiest to find, but if you can find one, you want to get it. Because you want Display for more damage and Blind. It's one of your defensive layers with your max block. And you also want Blast Freeze, because this is also technically can be considered defensive layer and damage layer at the same time. Deep Chill, you would take this. I just need 2 more point levels to take it, because that's my level 96. Oh shit. So at 96, I would actually finally get my Deep Chill. But most likely, next point, either you put it here, like 95, 96, or you can go like 95 here, and then once you get to 96, take that point off and just go this way, because this is a lot more damage. And then both your mediums, Rule of whatever, and then Vile, and this one is Cold-Blooded Killer and Vile. You want double Vile and just change the other one. Because Vile gives you 24% more damage over time, so you have 48 with 2 of them. 4% ES regen, 12% more ES, so it's really good with the build. And then you want one Brule for 24% even more damage. Increase your flash charge gains, because technically this build you just want to keep making sure that Roomies come back. Roomies is up at all times, because without Roomies you're not max block. And then like more regen, Cold-Blooded Killer, more damage over time, recover more life when you kill chilling, and you always chill pretty much with Blast Freeze. And then both of these jewels are pretty much just max ES for cold damage over time, and then like spell damage. This one is attack speed. It's whatever you can fit into the spot. If you need resistance, attributes, take whatever you need. It's what those are designed for. Trying to go quick. That's it with that one. So gear is pretty straightforward. You want Imbue one. The only thing you're looking for is cold damage. Oh no. Low of all cold spell skills. Open prefix. Increase spell damage. Get as high as you can afford. And then increase crit strike chance for spells is not needed as much. It just helps you push you up from like maybe a 5% crit chance to like 11. That's all it really does, maybe. But I would look, because pretty much a lot of your damage from this build is based on your wand. If your wand damage sucks, you're going to do no damage with the build. I think when I was using my old wand, if I still have it, yeah. So the old wand was 15% spell damage, and this one's 54, it's about a million more damage with just that extra 40% more damage on spell. So about like an extra million damage just for doing that is well worth it. And they usually go pretty cheap too. You can easily get these early on in the league for maybe a couple chaos. And then this open prefix, you can craft cold damage, overtime multiplier. And this one will carry you for the rest of the game. And then pretty much Frenzy, make sure no links on it. And then you want the Frostbolt and Spellslinger. Your Frenzy is how you cast your what do I call them? The Spellslinger skills. You have to use Frenzy. And you have to make sure you're using a wand too, otherwise you can't activate the Frenzy, which a lot of people always forget about. And then Spellslinger with Frostbolt, you don't need quality on Frostbolt at all. I just got this because for quality of life, for pretty much just a resale value. And Spellslinger, the more levels you have on Spellslinger, the less mana you can, the less mana you reserve. So you definitely do want to get to level 21 Spellslinger as soon as possible. If you're doing this on League Start, I recommend leveling up 6 Spellslingers on your backhand, on your weapon slot back here. Level up 6 of them. Once they all hit level 20, I would eval every single Spellslinger, hoping one goes to 21. Because you don't need quality at all on Spellslinger with this build. Because your damage does not come from these at all. They come from oops, all got turned off. Hold on. Yeah, all your damage mainly comes from, it's good, your Vortex. So the helmet, rims gauge, like 1 chaos, super cheap. You're pretty much looking for max cold damage overtime multiplier, which is 22. And the way I got this one, which I gotta stop pressing that button because I keep doing this all my time. Here. So cold damage, Vortex damage is probably what you want to get endgame. I would get that very late and just buy the cheapest one you can find and just divine this until you get 22. I got lucky and I got this on 5 divines. But pretty much your Creeping Frost, Control Destruction, Bone Chill, and Spellslinger. So it's another Spellslinger like casting Bone Chill, casting Control Destruction. You don't need quality on any of this also. Same thing. You don't need quality, don't need quality. Creeping Frost is just there. It's up to you really. It's more duration, I believe. No, more AoE. So I would recommend quality on the Creeping Frost, but not on these two, if you want to save money. Prism Guardian, this is only when you're going low life. You take this shield. Because it gives you your Hatred, Malevolence, and Zealotry cast on your life instead of your mana. And you want to try to get 21 on all of these. You don't need any quality. Presence with Trianguli for a lot more damage and ES. And then pretty much just put attributes on it to get up to 19. And then pretty much this is good too because then you can't be stunned. And then more ES. Like the usual combo, Shabs. I mean, it's the usual combo whenever you're going low life. The 3 usual. Then nothing changes. And then with this one, just go for ES if you can. But pretty much, like this is where all your money gems are. You know, Awaken Swift Affliction, Hypothermia, Efficiency, Elemental Focus, Control Destruction, and Vortex. These are the gems you would upgrade to 21, 23. Okay, we're back. So I did not plan that trade happening. I just had to take advantage of it. So pretty much, like this is where, like this was the last upgrade I just did actually before I made this video. Is like I got the 21, 23 Awakens. These were already pre-done. I'm not gonna upgrade them. It's too expensive. And pretty much both your rings are your curse rings. Like one ring you want Frostbite on hit. The other ring you want Elemental Weakness on hit. Those are where your curses come from. If you don't have the rings, you're going to pretty much need gems to do them. So that means you gotta cut gems out somewhere, or at least just get one ring to start and just go to second ring later. Whichever the cheaper route is at the time you're watching this. And then pretty much use the rings also to try to get, if you can, like strength, dexterity, whatever you can get, because that's going to be your biggest problem with this build. And like make sure this one is an unset ring. I went two-tone with the other one just for more resistance, just to try to fix the resistance problem with this build, but it's not that hard. But pretty much like get an open prefix if you want to cast like faster start to ES. You can cast more damage. You can have a lot of options. Like, you can get ES on it and just put defensive modifier for more. It's not much, to be honest with you, but it's a little bit more ES if you want to try to min-max. Othering, it's the exact same thing, pretty much. It's just elemental weakness. And the reason why I have to open socket is because that's where your clarity. If you're using the clarity watcher's eye, you put clarity here. If you're using the vitality watcher's eye, which is like faster recharge, I think, or something like that, or gain mana, something, whatever it is, you put vitality here instead. It's just, this is the whatever depends what watcher's eye you have. If you don't have a watcher's eye, you don't need the unset ring. Then I would just go get another two-tone for then. So the gloves, I actually crafted these myself. I don't know if it's best to go finger silk or if it's best to go with the Conjurer, I think it's called, or Sorcerer or something like that, whatever they're called. The ones that give you like more ES, but I went with this one just for 16% more damage. And then I just spammed this with dense fossils until I got at least over 150 ES. And then I kept this one, so it was actually pretty well rolled, actually. Even though it is, yeah, so it's actually triple prefixed on ES. So it's T2 plus ES, T4%, Tier 3 hybrid, double resistance, and open suffix. So definitely was a really good lucky roll on my end. And then that's where I put more dex and intelligence on this build. You don't need the extra intelligence, it's just more ES. The boots, these were the same thing. I just bought the Sorcerer's base, 86, with damage pen. And then I just spammed these with Shuddering, I believe it's called. Don't see that. Yeah, this one, I believe it's Shuddering, the one that gives you speed and dense fossils, until I got a good movement speed roll and ES roll. It ended up taking all my fossils, but this was I got lucky in the last one, so I just kept this. I wanted to get something better than this, but 137 is okay. It's not the best at all. I mean, it is still... Okay, it's actually not that bad, to be honest. I'm just trying to get more resistance. But T1 plus ES, actually I just realized, 30% movement speed, was trying to go for 35. And hybrid ES percentage. You ideally would want actual percentage, not hybrid, for more ES, but it's the best you can get. Just take what you can. And then it's pretty much your Immortal Call, level 3, increased duration, level 1 cast damage taken, and level 2 Tempest Shield. Make sure they're those levels so that your cast damage taken will trigger your Temp Shield and your Immortal Call when you take damage. And I forgot on the gloves, it's the usual combo, Second Wind, Flame Dash, Arcane Surge to level 1. It's the same combo that everyone uses pretty much. And then by itself, you just have your Valid Discipline. If you could afford a 21 early in the league, when they're super cheap, I would recommend getting it. If they are like they are right now in 10 Exalts, I would say do not spend the money. It's not worth like an extra, maybe 100 ES at the most. It's much cheaper just to go get this one for like 20 Chaos and call it a day. Crystal Belt, you do have two options. If it's like a league start, super cheap on, I would get Bated Breath for like 1 Chaos. That will actually hold you until you can upgrade something like this. Pretty much, this is the Crystal Belt is the best to get. And then you want to try to find a percent. Where is it? Shit, where'd it go? There you go. So you want Crusaders, and because you want to get the percent increase maximum ES percentage T1 with on top of that, at least try to search for like a T2 or 1 maximum ES. And then resistance if you can. This one was actually not bad because it also has regenerate 240 ES per second if you're close to a rare or unique enemy, so it's not the worst. Aspect of Spider you do not need. I tried to get Aspect of Spider to work because it's a lot of damage. It's like an extra 1.6 million damage. But the problem is, I tried doing many different ways between changing the helmets to the Spellslinger reduced mana reserve. I've tried looking at the tree for different ways, but instead of taking Tranquility, you take Charisma, which you can thankfully then take Aspect of the Spider. It's just the problem is, you actually lose damage doing that, even with Aspect Spider fully active. So overall, I could not get Aspect Spider work, so I just left it off. If I could, I definitely would take Aspect Spider. It's just, I couldn't get to work, and there's really no way to beat with this build. Mainly because you're at 91%, I believe. Hold on. God damn it. Again for the third time. Hopefully this is the last time. That's the reason why I don't like putting D&D on, because stuff like that might happen. Okay, so if I'm correct, I think we're on the Flasks now. The Flasks, it's pretty much Cinderwell for Onslaught and regen ES. Pretty much you regen your ES back because you're running Zealot Oath, so life is ES. And then try to at least get like a good like ES percentage recovery. It's the only thing you really look for. Roomies, get whatever you need to finish off your max block. Like if you need more spell block, get a roomie with better spell block. If you need more attack, get a roomie with better attack. Just the roomie is open to whatever you need. Remember, it's doubled whatever you do. Because of this one. So both of your chance to block are double. So when this roomie is active, it's actually I'm way over capped. It's actually 28% more to attack damage, and then also 20% more to spell block. So I am way over capped now with this. I could easily, technically, go back to my tree and drop like more shield nodes. It's just hard to do because the shield stuff also goes with more stuff on top of it. Like I could probably take a look at my stuff and see if I can drop both of these 2 points to go get those. I still have to actually look into to see if it's possible. And then it's like your usual, your Chemist Cork Sets and Warding, your Chemist Basaltic Grounding. I just hate Shock. But these two spots are open. Grounding or Warding, doesn't matter which one you get in. I already had this one previously, so I just used it. And I rolled this one myself. By just rolling to Chemist and just going to Beastery and put Grounding on it. It's the easy way of doing it. Because this gives your phasing for more survivability, more Fizz damage reduction, and then a usual Chemist of Adrenaline for more movement speed. And I think that's pretty much it. The build is actually very nice. I did test a League Start with this build, like using only items I get out of playing, not using anything in my stash tab or Gilda stash. And it was actually pretty smooth. You level on early on is not easy, but when you get the like the Spellslinger stuff going, your Vortex and your 4-link and 5-link going, it gets a lot easier to play. It's just a little bit rough early on. It will take some time, but also lead mechanic might help out too. So we're gonna do the Atoll map right now. This is 85% quant on it, just to show you what the build looks like in speed. And we're just gonna do it with Fortunate Break, because I'm still working on that. Or actually, no, we'll save that. We'll do some Essence. Why not? I got some Essence, some Corruption. Have some fun with it. So let's show you what the build looks like I'm actually mapping. But yeah, the Explorer is really nice to play, because you just pop everything super quick. And you always leave the Vortex on the ground, so it's a lot of damage next to you. So you have Scorn, we can try to level that up. Rip. Oh yeah, another one. Oh, we got another one. Fail. But yeah, like that can happen too, is you can die even with all this ES, which is actually good to show. It's just you have to also play smart with these type of builds. You can't just, I'm going to sit there for everything and hope I don't die. You will actually die with this build easily. Even with 8.8k ES, you still can die. Because certain mods can still hit you really hard. Do a quick showcase. Well, actually, we'll do a full circle. But yeah, usually you just hit your enemies once with Frenzy, and you just keep running away. And everything does pop everything else. Because you're double cursing, so the curse triggers the Profane Bloom, which triggers your Explode. Build's very good overall. And this build also did come from Datmodz. He did this build as his League Start when he went to Standard this league, Ultimatum. So, and he farmed a mirror in 4 days with it. Well, 4 days of playtime. So the build's extremely good overall. Very cheap League Start build. I definitely will be playing this next league with my League Start until I actually go to what I'm actually probably going to look at second, might be a super expensive build. Probably like 300-400 exalts. But it's something to work on. But build play is very nice. Ultimatums are even very doable. The only one I recommend not taking is the one that cancels Flasks out, other Flasks when you use it. And I probably would not take the projectiles going crazy directions, because that one just gets really annoying when you're trying to shoot forward, except you're shooting in every direction. But it's super easy with this build overall. Corrupted blood does not matter. But yeah, the big thing is always just keep your flask up. If your flask never run out, you probably will not die that much with this build. So all your defensive layers you have. And also the build does feel... I did the build also without the large cluster, where I took both mediums only. And I did die a lot. When I got the large cluster, my survivability went way up. So large cluster is probably a big recommendation for this build. Is try to get that early on. You can easily roll it through harvest too, with cold and prefix, suffix cannot be changed, that kind of stuff. This will take time, but it's very doable through harvest. And also they were pretty cheap. I think they're like 4 exalts this league anyway, so they're not that expensive at all. Oh shit, Lost Ark is out now. I might go do that actually today too. And move on. But yeah, this build can pretty much clear everything in the game. Conquerors are super easy with the build. If the build takes a little bit of time to get going, but once your damage gets going, everything just sort of dies real quick. We can see if there's anything else this way to blow up. And after this, we're gonna try to do Cyrus too. Hopefully we don't get disconnected and lose all the portals again like the last build did. Just want to do one quick run. That's not a portal. So that's the map showcase. It builds not the quickest build out there, but it definitely is a fun build. This is also on Awakener 9. Let's see if we can do Cyrus. This is actually my first time doing Cyrus build. I've only played this build for maybe 2 days.
How boring and small. You want the Atlas?
Come on.
Take it. It's yours. But Ori, I will turn to the ground.
This is all on, right? Make sure quickly. Yeah. Here. Almost an hour to do this thing. Well, I'm like almost spending an hour making a build guide. Turn this off. Let's see how we do. Oh, there he is. But yeah, damage is super low on bosses, is one thing with this build. But the build is also super tanky. But like once your cold damage gets going, but bosses usually die pretty quick. It's like the Hexplex build I played earlier in this league with the fire damage over time. Same playstyle, same as ED Contagion. All your damage over time builds pretty much are the exact same playstyle. They might take a couple seconds to get going, but once the damage gets going, it really gets going. And I almost died right there. And you gotta be careful of Top Cyrus. Top Cyrus is much deadlier than Baby Cyrus. And we're done. Phase 3. Oh shit, he's ready for phase 4. Trigger next phase. Getting a lot of good trades right now. Oh, I think we're dead. So that's what, 3 decent trades within a video. This should bring us to the final phase, I'm hoping. But Cyrus is super easy, just run in circles while you're trying to avoid Big Boy Cyrus on top from one-tapping you. Because 90% of the time, Big Boy Cyrus on top will always kill you. Yeah, look after this. But now we're going to have to go back to circle phase. But yeah, after you play it out with those crazy boots, then we changes things. You play these boots. Maybe this is not a good spot. If I rip, it's probably because of me going to the wrong areas. There we go. If we don't die, this should be the final phase. Before finale. Yeah, that's already over. The only bad thing with this build is you cannot see the ground. So if you're standing on effects on the ground, you'll never know until you're dead. But it's most of the time how I kill myself with this build. And we're final phase now. There's real Cyrus. Yeah, Cyrus is more damage you do the faster this fight. Which phase is this? Oh, circle phase? Fine. So we can take a beam. That's actually really good to know. But yeah, max. This is why I like max block builds more than anything in this game. Is stuff like this. Well, definitely isn't one of the slower Cyrus builds, but it's a cheap build, which sort of shows. There you are. Real one should be dead any second. You are. You're dead. And that's not bad actually. Well, we know we gotta gamble awaken. We gotta gamble these gloves. So we're gonna gamble the gloves real fast before we end the video. But yeah, the build can definitely do everything in the game, no problem. It's just not the quickest build to ever do everything in the game. But for like a 15 exalt build, well worth it. We can throw some these on there. We got plenty I don't care about. Just in case we get make it look cool. Cool enough. And battle order number 1. Rip. Did what we always do best. So that's the Coldslinger build. I'll link Datmodz's channel also for Twitch channel in the description below. POB movie description below. And I hope everyone liked the video. Didn't really mean this being 3 separate parts like I was planning, but when people offer you 150x, you gotta take it. some fin trades. So thank you for watching the video, and hope to see you on the next one.